Okay, so today we're going to show you how to spray your honey supers with BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis. I've already taken the honey supers out to the yard and let the bees clean them up, so they're basically dry at this point. This is a product called Zentari. I may not be spelling it or saying it correctly, but it's a biological insecticide. It's very organic. No problem at all with using this on your honey supers. It actually kills the adult moth, and that's actually what we're after, is no wax moths. So this is an organic method of spraying your honey supers with a non-carcinogenic method. Other methods might be to use paradichlorobenzene, which is the moth crystals, which has kind of shown that it's a carcinogenic. So about 6 years ago, I got rid of that and went with the BT, and I've been very happy with it ever since. Very few times do I have a frame that shows up any kind of wax moth damage. So I'm very happy with this. Like I said, I've been using it for about 6 years. No problems at all. About every third year, I'm gonna go and spray every single frame. So that's a pretty good odds without having to use any kind of wax moth preventer, but every 3 years. So I'm going to show you a real quick method of how I spray, and an easy way that I spray the frames. I've basically taken them out of every box, laid them out on the floor, kind of made a little row that I can get up in through there real quick. The recipe calls for 3 tablespoons. Make sure that's right, not 3 teaspoons. 3 teaspoons, correction, 3 teaspoons to a gallon. And so I mixed up 2 gallons just to make sure that I've definitely got enough, because I have some additional frames to spray. So once you mix this up, make sure that you use it then. It's not one of those, oh, I'll mix it up in the morning and then whenever I get home from work, I'll spray them then. Do not do that. Be prepared, spray it, mix it up, spray it at the same time. What you don't use, throw out, because it's pennies on the dollar to mix this stuff up, but it will not last and be effective after you get home if you decide to mix it up in the morning. So basically, I'm just kind of spraying. I'm not drowning the frames themselves. I'm just making sure that all of the cells get some of this in it. It can be a very quick process, not labor intensive. Trying to get every single frame, every single cell. If you have frames that have pollen in them, then those frames are probably going to be a little more subjective to wax moths. They really like that pollen. If you do it on a concrete floor, be very careful, especially if you're in Crocs, because you can wind up on your patootie real quick. So now that I've got that done, I'm just basically going to turn them all over. Mark the top of my frames. Maybe you have a deal where you ran out of honey supers this year and you're going to come to our annual auction and you buy some already drawn out supers. So what my suggestion would be, so you don't get them mixed up after they come into your extraction area, on top of the frames what year you actually sprayed those frames, and then you don't have to spray them all every year. You'll know which ones. So on the tops of my frames that they draw out fresh that year, I just put NT, not treated, 20. So I know 2020 I did not treat. So those have to come in and be sprayed, and that's exactly what these are, is frames that were freshly drawn out this year. And this is just a regular old garden sprayer. Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, wherever your little hardware store is.
You only use it for that purpose, right?
Yes, and I don't use this to spray my garden tomatoes or to spray cleaner on the house. I specifically mark this as a container for BT. BT. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 supers, I probably used not quite 3/4 of a, I'd say 3/4 of a gallon. So 3 teaspoons to a gallon, and you got this covered for 6 supers. So after I get done here, I put them back into the frame, into the boxes themselves, and I've got some sitting back here already. Show you the end product. So I set a fan on them, crisscross them so lots of ventilation gets between the boxes. And in a couple of days, they're good and dry. If it's hot, there'll probably be less than that. And then go ahead and just stack them back up into however you have them stacked up in. For my case, I just stack them up into columns and put a lid on the top, a lid on the bottom. And if you've got any holes in them, then I just cover them up with duct tape. And they're good for 3 years, and then I don't have to do it anymore. So that's BT spraying. That probably took 5 minutes, maybe. Be the easiest thing that you do as far as a beekeeper. That only takes 5 minutes to get done, and it is worth saving every ounce of comb that you have. Just a simple little method. If anybody needs this BT, I do have it. It's very economical and very cheap, 3 teaspoons to a gallon, so that's not very much. So don't order an entire pound of it, because you'll never use it all unless you've got 100 hives and you need more than 3 teaspoons. So see me if you need it. It's very cheap. Thank you very much.